Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Alanis. I am the ECB Verdial Sales Director. I also cover the Southern and Western U.S. regions for you guys. And today we will be talking about our product, your product, Biotic Earth, a topsoil and compost replacement product, or one that can be used to augment less than ideal soils, and what your specific messaging for specifiers is going to be. Now, the interesting thing about this product when you're talking about it and promoting it is that what works for contractors, the points you want to hit with them about high capacity loads, ease of installation, reduction in the number of tank loads that you're going to need, as well as effectiveness and the boost to short-term vegetation establishment, because they really only care about closing out their permits and closing that project out. Those points are not going to be the ones that are going to sway your specifiers. They're going to want to know about an entirely different set of benefits. Their eyes will glaze over if you're talking about the same benefits you would to contractors to specifiers. And the reasoning behind that is the motivations for why they do what they do is different for both groups. So we'll go into that to really help you hone your messaging for your specifiers. And so the things to remember, first one is the cost savings potential. Here I say that your messaging is different for every group, and yet that is going to be a point that you're going to want to emphasize to all groups. The cost savings potential when you're talking to specifiers can be a little tricky. With them, you need to gauge your time. When are you talking about this? If we're still in the design phase of a project, absolutely talk up the cost savings potential. If it is after a bid, if a contractor wants them to consider this as an alternate, you need to talk to your contractor first before you promote the cost savings potential to your specifiers, though, because your contractor may be well aware of that cost savings potential and want to pocket that or most of it. So he may not want you emphasizing the cost savings potential of Biotic Earth versus topsoil or compost quite so much, right? You might have to use the other points. So make sure that you and your contractor are on the same page on this. Now, the cost savings potential is large, from 40, percent, 20%. We have a number of projects. We've run the math on how much an installed price on topsoil per acre or hectare is. I challenge you to do the same in your local region. That definitely is one to have in your pocket, as well as talk to your contractors and get a installed price for Biotic Earth per acre or hectare, so you can bandy those about to your specifiers and use those kind of as plug numbers for them, because specifiers will ask about that. There's another point, and I think this really is the main one for specifiers, and that is, unlike contractors, their name is on that project long term. They are not only interested if they can terminate their permits and close that project out, but if it is a success long term. And so for them, if a project fails to vegetate 2-3 years later, that is on them. They have, as I say, ownership of that project. That project is affiliated with them. They have an interest in ensuring that that project is successful long term, like no other project is. Your contractor, if he installs, or she installs per spec, and that doesn't vegetate, it's no skin off their nose, right? I mean, they just followed the directions, but it works differently with your specifiers. So definitely promoting that as a benefit will be a big one. As is, if there is a high profile project that has failed on vegetation locally, bring that up. It doesn't have to be specific to that engineer, but just that point that the industry is watching, that look what happened on this project and you don't want that to happen on yours, definitely that is a good point to hit with your specifiers. Now, it is very hard to convince a specifier to be the first to try something out. So even if they are, even if in your region literally nobody has specified biotic earth, if you're up against that, if you're kind of greenfielding it, you want to promote it like you're not. You want to promote that it has been used elsewhere, multiple places, approved by various municipalities. You want to prove to them, okay, locally you may be the first, but you're definitely not the first, nationally, internationally, province-wide, statewide. You want to make those points. Please reach out to us. We can be a resource for you for case studies where you can prove this point. If you have a question, even if, say, regionally, biotic earth is new to those specifiers, but the type of work may not be new. You want to show them that. It's been used in mine reclamation, environmentally sensitive wetland use, green wall systems installed directly over on base. Prove to them that they are not the first. Also on this, absolutely vital to get test shoot after test shoot on the ground in your local areas, because that way you have that project profile. You have those pictures where you can show your specifiers 3 blocks away from your project site, this project vegetated beautifully. This is where you can get those test shoots on the ground with your contractor, where you sample it out. They're willing to try it on a current project. You get their recommendation for use. You take installation pictures or before pictures and follow-up pictures. You put those in your slideshows. You make a project profile of it. You make a case study of it. So you have those tools to prove to your specifiers they are not the first. You also want to emphasize that they don't want to be the last. This is becoming an industry trend. That is not spin. We see this happening over and over again. This is rising in our industry, and it is something that they need to pay attention to. So definitely promoting those high-profile projects, those larger projects in other regions as the DOT and municipal specifications fall in line on this. You want to point that out, that this is something they need to pay attention to. It's saving owner after owner large sums of money, municipal agencies, large sum of money, even just effectiveness. Our industry is worse than any other that grows plants as part of its business model. Our successes have been very low in this industry. It is now that we are turning that around, and we do that through a product like this. So certainly hit that point. I hit this point a little bit, but that's longevity of the product's effectiveness. Our Milner Ridge case study is now over 10 years old. We go back every year and take pictures. We've done core samples and pulled those and analyze them. We can prove that this product works long term. And I would challenge you to use this phrase just about verbatim with your specifiers, and that is this. If you're going to promote a product for its long-term effectiveness, you better be able to prove it. Because Biotic Earth is not the only biotic soil amendment on the market. There are other ones. But those case studies are nowhere near as long as ours. We have case studies 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, longer. And some of the competition has case studies topping out at 18 months. So definitely differentiate yourself from the competition that way. Get that bug in their ear. Make them less likely to approve that alternate because they know, these guys can prove it works for over a decade. I don't have that reassurance with these other products. Definitely get that out there. That's something to talk about. And again, as I mentioned earlier, has it worked here is a question I get asked by every single specifier I present to. And that is interesting because soil improvement is the same regardless of your climatic conditions or geographic location. But every specifier thinks that they are a special snowflake and they need it in their backyard. And so that's up to you to get those test shoots on the ground so you can prove to them, yes, it has worked in this province. Yes, it has worked in this state. Yes, it has worked in this city. Yes, it has worked on these soils. That is something they need reassurance on, and it's easy enough to do with test shoots. Now we have, again, as I will mention, lots of case studies. We are more than willing to share. Email us the parameters, the uniques on your project, and we'll help kind of sort through those case studies and help you have a good one to send to your specifiers. Emails. When you are emailing engineers, it is not like contractors who want very short and concise emails. Specifiers need this all laid out in front of them with as much information as you can throw at them. 3 paragraphs is just about what I have found to be perfect when I'm submitting to a specifier for use as an alternate on a project. You are going to want to hit just about every one of those points I just discussed. Delicately and not over the head on some of those, but I would hit as many of those points as you possibly can in every email that you send to specifiers. They will send you a couple of examples on a draft that can be adjusted, an example for use. More information, the better. The one thing I would never put on an email to a specifier is a brochure. Brochures get file 13 faster than anything else with specifiers. They don't really mean anything to specifiers, just, somebody's trying to sell me something. What does matter to them is case studies, material specifications, recommendations for use. We definitely have those that they can copy and paste and plug into their plans. I will send those. I always copy those. I will put a couple case studies on emails to specifiers. I will put those design considerations so that they can copy those and paste if they like to. I will share those with you. I recommend that you do that when you're emailing your specifiers. Now, the reasoning behind that is this. I had one specifier one time just exasperated, explained to me, I don't understand. I don't understand why all these contractors are always submitting alternatives, products for the ones I design with. Why can't they just use what I design with? So feel free to tell them. Tell them the motivations. Don't leave them in the dark. They don't really understand this. So if they specified a product that is not available anywhere in their state, that's a benefit. If your contractor has installed it before and it's been a problem, if it hasn't worked well, you can just say your contractor has a preference because of this. If it's only available sole source and is incredibly expensive in the industry, we all love sole source when it's us. We all talk bad about it when it's somebody else. And so feel free to emphasize those points. Kind of paint the picture of why the ask is happening, and then why you are submitting the alternate, and prove your point that it's proven effective. Here are these case studies. Here's this reasoning. Here's the cost savings over topsoil if you're at that phase in design, or installs so much faster the contractors prefer it. Paint that picture for them. Really make them understand. The other part of that is always more effective. Your effectiveness of getting product approved as equal or approved as an alternate is much more likely if those specifiers know you. And one way to get in front of them, to get your name out there in the industry, is definitely on LinkedIn. Specifiers love LinkedIn. That is a good social media platform to be promoting to them. And that could be something easy, just as sharing the posts that we do. If you follow our company on LinkedIn, you'll see those posts. I will put out posts, so will Jim, so will Mark, and you can pick and choose and just share those or share your own project updates. Definitely that has power in this industry, more than you would think, because so many people consider LinkedIn something that gets polished up along with the resume before you apply for a new position. That's not the case with specifiers. They are quite active and they are paying attention on these social media platforms, specifically like LinkedIn. that is the very quick messaging tips I have for you for specifiers. If you do have any questions, please reach out to Jim. He covers the northern US and Canada. Alex Zimmerman is our technical director. I again cover the South and the West, but we are all of us always willing to help. If you do have any questions, if you want to run a draft email by us, if you want to ask our advice on tweaking some messaging, please, we are always open for that. We love doing that, and we're here to support you in your sales efforts. So good luck out there. Thanks.